All right, we're gonna let some folks get in the room, and I'm gonna go and tell all the business beasts that it is Builder Square. Hey Uche.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know,
It's good.
you looking a little pixelated. Maybe you got something extra things running back there.
Yeah, down on me all of a sudden.
Oh no.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
See how it goes. We're gonna give some folks some time. I'm trying to open up the live feed on another screen really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with some good muted
Some
sound. Give me a second.
time.
I'm trying to open up the live feed on another. There we go. Because I like to watch the live side by side.
I got you.
There we go. And then, of course, I want to make sure that I can share this with my network. And if you're tuning in already, and we already got one, maybe I'm that one viewer. If you're tuning in already, what we're going to do is share this with some of your friends. Share it with your network. Network, what's up, network? Welcome to Builder Square. This is our fourth Builder Square event. We have come a long way in discussing development, urban development. This is a platform for urban developers, as
Yeah.
well as a way in which we can share some resources between our legacy neighbors and the budding uh, ecosystem of Black and Brown developers that are really changing San Antonio's landscape, especially on the east and west sides.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Welcome to
mhm.
Builder Square.
Okay, so the goal here today is to talk about gentrification.
Gentrification.
I mean,
Gentrification.
we're gonna do what?
Are we kicking things off already, or should we take them
I
straight
want
into
to
it?
give folks a little time. Like, I mean, what you mean? What do you mean? Are we kicking things off already?
I was going to just go right into.
Oh, right away like that.
No, no, we can take.
We can take our time here. Let me share this link because I definitely want our friends to share these links. And so I'm gonna really quickly share this into um, some groups, my favorite groups,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
which is hold on. Let's discuss gentrification. Now, it's such a big word to have been, applied to like a simplest problem that is equity in housing or community equity. Like that's what gentrification is. It's well, in my opinion, because I did a lot of research, not a lot of research, just enough research.
Well, I mean, there's the official definition of gentrification, I guess. Well,
Mhm.
it was, I guess there was a report that was done by the city of San Antonio, and this is the definition they use. So, just based on the city's definition, the process by which higher income households displace lower income residents of a neighborhood, changing the essential character and flavor of that neighborhood.
Does it say flavor?
It's that flavor. That's the official definition that the city of San Antonio uses. Yeah.
Okay. Now that's a very interesting use of words.
Hmm.
All right. So, all right. I've shared it with my friends. I urge you all to share it with your friends. We're still stuck on the same one person, and it just might be me.
And
Uh,
it's okay. We can just keep going. We can just keep
we got
going.
stuff to share. Hey, we got this thing that you found earlier today, a news story that I want to make sure it gets quite early in our cast today.
All right.
Uh, Go ahead and give us the intro to that one.
So, in 2022, Ken's Five actually did a study, or well, they reported on and the gentrification currently occurring. And this story that they told, centered around the residents and the neighborhood and the people who reside on the east side, as well as it took a look on the not only side of things, but also the revitalization side of the east side, and how those two, I won't say opposing, but concurrent are happening, and how they affect one another. I guess I rambled too long, but I think y'all this video because it's a great take on this. And thank you to Troy Kless of Kent 5 on the reporting of this story. All right.
Of Maple, and there's fear this change could do more harm than good. Property values have skyrocketed, driving out some of the city's poorest families. Eyewitness reporter Troy Kless has more on the impact and what's being done to slow down the change.
Just outside of downtown San Antonio is a revival.
Thing I like about living over here, so the most resources that we really, I think.
D. Smith bought this historic home in Dinwiddie Hill on the east side back in 2007. She purchased it unseen in an auction for $3,200.
Office foundation abandoned for at least 27 years. That ghost house.
In 2013, she finished her renovations, initially wanting to rent the home, but decided to stay.
And everybody, it kind of reminded me of how I grew up.
The growth is becoming rapid in many east side neighborhoods. Wealthy buyers come in, building new homes net once. Leonard Coleman retired and moved to San Antonio. The home changed, but not his.
Done nothing to it other than put a little bit of paint here and there, repair things that were
over $38,000 is now valued at $170,000. Coleman's products is more than triple, going from $140 to $600.
when you look at that bill and see numbers, what comes to your mind? The unfair.
He feels the hot housing market is failing those who are on fixed incomes, families who have lived here for generations.
I can have the taxes keep going up and up and up and up and stay in that.
But he and others are not resistant to the changes in these historically Black and Latino neighborhoods.
When we talk about gentrification, like I said, the worst part of it, there's pros and cons.
And development comes change, but business like Tony G Soul Food want that change positive.
Wanted to bring life back to the east side.
Tony G Soul Food is owned businesses. It's a new place serving classic dishes by community members.
A lot of locals on our and in our kitchen, so we wanted to kind of go back to the community in that one. We just wanted to make a home feel and just wanted to really make it feel like they were at home and just.
The restaurant hosts meetings with community stakeholders. Groups like the San Antonio Housing Authority are building developments like East Meadows and affordable housing gap, while Smith tries to help those deal with exorbitant property taxes.
We always bring in different from the city that enlighten us what kind of programs are available.
She does not want her neighbor driven out of there. Acknowledges her neighbor on it.
The city does that. I don't have to have people stacked on top of me. I don't know.
Neighborhoods that dead ends near downtown are now becoming a destination. Smith feels old and new neighbors should have an equal chance to live here. Troy Kless, Kent's 5, Eyewitness News.
The councilman for the east side says more affordable housing is on the way. Husband Jalen with
That really identified a lot of the conversation that's been actually had for a few years, in my opinion. I mean, identifying the area businesses. San Antonio's east side and west side communities are some of the more dense communities. They have a lot
Yeah.
more of the historic buildings. They have buildings that were not only historic but also large manufacturing business buildings that can offer a lot of promise in terms of redevelopment, revitalization. We've seen this on the west side, especially with those not the can plant lofts, as well as the
Mhm.
what's the ones, uh, the factory lofts that we had
Peanut
that good people.
factory
Yes,
alongside.
the peanut factory lots. Yes, well, okay, so those big giant buildings see a lot of promise. And we've also seen on the east side over here that there's an effort to reuse the big giant buildings and the space that they have. Even our former residents, the
The
Baldwin
Baldwin.
was
Mhm.
grew out of older building. Let's see.
And you see the updates to older apartment complexes like East Meadows that had an entire change in revitalization to accommodate mixed use income in their income.
Right. Mixed income. They're adding luxury facets, right? When they say mixed income, um, hello, Jermans. When they say mixed income, we mean lower income persons living with higher income persons, right? That may be able to use a little bit more money out of their monthly income to pay things like rent. What we don't see, however, is a lot of things to buy. That's just from personal. That's just our personal viewpoints. So I really am kind of bummed. We thought we were going to have like a really cool speaker for today's
That's
Builder
all right.
Square.
That's all right.
All right. This process is entirely a learning process. So speakers really don't have a lot of benefits to come in outside of answering all of our questions because we just want to know stuff. And if we want to know stuff, we're sharing it with you all, right? And
Yeah.
so I actually, while Uche was doing a media deep dive into how to answer San Antonio or how to address or what's the conversation like surrounding San Antonio's growth, this there we go. Okay. San Antonio's growth. I did a little research of my own, and it came out to be a little brief presentation. And I want Uche's laughing because it's not like this is the first time he's seen it, but definitely I love a solid presentation. And I feel like I can get somewhere if I have these notes for you, and you all should see what we're learning, right? Um, so big shout out to Moody Nolan, who is making this all possible. We're grateful to be working with Moody Nolan. They are the largest African American owned architecture firm in the country, a 2021 Architecture Firm of the Year awardee from the AIA organization, which is the International Architecture Organization. We are grateful for to be their publicist here in San Antonio as we work with them in the completion of a couple of their projects, namely the MLK Academy project with SAISD. So thank you so much, Moody Nolan. All right, so let's get
Woohoo!
it. First of all, the big question I've had via text message, via phone calls, and email responses is it Builders Square or Builder Square? Is there an ownership or is there a community? And you know what? We're just letting you all take it the way you want to take it. I love the ownership of it because I want to own this knowledge. I also love the community of it, because that's important as well. So we're a platform for diverse developers. So it's builders or it's just you. It's just us. It's builders. Here we go. All right. So today I did something funny, or last night I did something really, really funny. I Googled profits from gentrification because I really wanted to know and get down to the bare minimal. And Uche, Google and me are friends because I feel like Google understands me in the
Yeah.
way I ask questions. Huh? Yes, we are. Thank you. I mean, so I Googled this and y'all, the results the results gave me a whole different outlook. So, all right. It said nothing in here about flavor. Uche, I know your definition of gentrification included flavor. Oh no, this one gets down to the dollars. All right. It's the richest 20% of households received 73% of the benefits of gentrification, which is could be as much as $50 billion a year. And the wealthiest 1% of our country, those are who are making $327,000 per year per one person household, or $654,000 for a four-person household. They get 15% of the benefits of gentrification. 15% of the $50 billion goes to the top 1% of our community. Now, this was facts for Google in 2017. Like they were so sure about this 2017 data that they gave it to me. And here's the thing, they gave it to me in half a second. They're like, we are sure about these facts. These are the facts. 15% of $50 billion goes to the top 1%. And then as I look down on my line of Google stuff, because I love to look down because I'm an analytics based girl, I want to know, how do developers profit from gentrification? This is stuff that Google is expecting me to want to know. How gentrification benefits the wealthy? How does
Hmm.
gentrification benefit the poor? And then what are three pro benefits of gentrification? Now, I didn't really need to know those answers. My goal was to figure out what in the gentrification model can urban communities tap into to build wealth and profits on themselves, right? Because gentrification is a business. That's what this Google search taught me. It's some a simple Google search. The first thing was a definition of the development of the profits and where they're going. And then the first real result that they gave me wasn't an ad, but boost your profits by investing in gentrifying neighborhoods. It's a business. It's a
Hmm.
business. And it's being sold all over the place, not just in San Antonio, but in plenty of other markets. So before I move any further, I have a question for our viewers. If you are a resource, if you're a subject matter expert in real estate development, construction, real estate investing, or if you're a banker, if you manage a first time home buyer program, if you manage a senior home buyer program, or maybe a military veteran home buyer program, please drop your contact information in the comments. We would like to add you to a list that we can promote. We want people to find different resources so that they can help to build on their already growing communities, as well as gain a little access to a little opportunity. So go ahead and share your links, your link tree, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever you use to get information to your communities and your intended audiences. Share those links in the comment section so we can say, hey, these people are offering some help. All right. And then also, hey, look, through June and July, we'll be adding those links to a lot of guided content. So couldn't hurt, right? It's all about the community. So let's move forward. Is gentrification growth? I'm not sure. Like Uche, is it growth?
It's interesting because when you think of gentrification, it goes in line with revitalization. I mean, as as a society or a neighborhood gets revitalized, the new homes or new businesses that cater to a higher target in terms of price point, it definitely puts away people who can not necessarily afford those kind of things.
But that's displacement. So that's a yes. See, first it was a yes. You said it.
Well, yeah, because revitalize, but it doesn't happen automatically. But yes, when you revitalize a neighborhood, not immediately, we don't see people start moving out, but over time, maybe the community doesn't really enjoy it no more, or because of higher taxes, which takes about to really materialize if you think about it. At the same time, you also have just the neighborhood character. It changes. The people are
That
changing,
flavor.
and the flavor. It's really from that video you could see that they talked about communities, people in the community who couldn't afford the taxes, or just were talking about literally how their neighborhood had changed. Just businesses who were like enjoying the influx of new people. people, and that was kind of like, wow, business is booming. So yeah, it's a really tough conversation.
It's a tough question to answer. You literally answered it with all four of these. It was a yes, it was a no, it was a maybe, it was a we can't really tell. It's yes because more community members with more income are making more money, they're paying more money into the systems, and that means more improvements, hopefully across the scale. It's a no because, hey, listen, we cannot confuse investment with displacement. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
things are getting more and more expensive in these urban communities, that the legacy neighbors can't afford to stay. They literally are getting pushed out. So getting pushed out of your neighborhood is anti-growth. And then there's a maybe, right? There are programs and initiatives available to maintain home ownership, profiting from booming, trendy real estate trends. There's plenty of things there that are available, but you have to know where to find them. You have to know how to apply. You have to, have all your ducks in a row in order to get into the game. And then, of course, it's too soon to tell, right? We're dealing with this influx. Before it was, suburban sprawl. Communities were bustling, and then they kind of spread out, and now you're getting this rush back in, and I feel like this is the first time that we're going to meet this tide in our generation. So who knows if it's if these ebbs and flows and highs and lows of gentrification across these audience groups is going to stick, or maybe, just maybe, we'll all get rich. No. Okay. Maybe not. I don't think. Okay. Um okay, and so when as we continue down this search, the little rabbit hole, um we kind of identified a couple of people that were definitely profiting, and even the story told this from gentrification. And here's how they're doing it from my point of view. Again, if you are a resource or Uche and you want to you want to correct me, I beg of you to interrupt. All right, the wealthy, duh, duh. Flipping is real. Flipping these houses. I'm not gonna act like y'all are slow. You know what house flipping is. There's plenty of shows about it. Buying low, selling high, age old business model. They going with it, and it ain't. They don't really lose, right? Outside of inflation. Outside of inflation in 2008, outside of inflation in 2012, outside of inflation in 2022. But outside of that, they don't lose. Legacy neighbors are profiting, like businesses, like Uche said earlier. Businesses are profiting from new high net worth consumers moving into low income neighborhoods. They are blowing money fast. Okay. They're coming in here and they're hosting events. They're using landscapers. They're painting their houses. They're doing amazing, great things. And if there are legacy businesses in the area that have the opportunity to sell their sources or sell their wares, they are doing that. And so legacy members really love it. Residents, not so much. Skyrocketing tax bills. That's what everybody wants you to believe, is skyrocketing tax bills. Urban developers are also doing some good profit driven work, of course. They're able to put a bunch of compact houses on single individual lots most of the times, tripling and doubling down profits. But also at the same time, that increase, going back to these legacy numbers, that increase in the value of that singular lot now affects the value of singular lots surrounding it, and thus maybe hyping it up some of those bills we don't like to receive. But life is bills, and of course, entire cities. We got the flavor, and
Yes.
we like to tell people we got the flavor, right? It's not just
Mm-hmm.
any old place. This is a very flavorful part of town over here, right? So yeah, inner cities are utilizing this opportunity and gentrification opportunities to market trendier digs to highly experienced workers, thus bringing forth
Mm-hmm.
companies and organizations that want to hire these experienced workers. The more workers per capita, the more opportunities for investing organizations to jump into these cities. It's a big, giant landscape. Okay. Um, yeah, let's see. Let's keep it going. But then, of course, with it being a landscape, in our point of view, we're some publicists, Uche, right? So we always
Mm-hmm.
got to talk about the spin. We always got to talk about how we're communicating so that we can be really, really honest about how we're affecting growth, right? Gentrification is growth, but we have to affect growth properly. And that means we got to be transparent and honest. So when we spin language and use language, this is why I feel like gentrification creates such hostility.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because of the
and
positive and negative, how it affects people sometimes positively, and some people it affects them negatively.
yeah, yeah, because we're using words like urban renewal, right?
And revitalization.
And revitalization, right? And so urban renewal, which is proper purchasing property at lower cost, renovating and selling it at rates legacy neighbors can't afford, that's a marketing silo. That means you're creating something and you're putting almost a trap door in your development. That means that, hey, you're not welcome in this space because you can't afford
Yeah.
it. Even though I'm right in the middle of your space where you've been able to live comfortably for a very long time, I'm gonna put this trap door, and this might catch you no matter where you go. You go around it, you're gonna get caught. You go up under it, you're gonna get caught. You go above it, you're gonna get caught. And so a marketing silo creates a discourse between neighbors.
I
It
agree.
creates a space where neighbors don't understand each other. There's not a good quality mix. There's a lesser opportunity to be a good neighbor when you feel as if you're locked out from your actual neighborhood, from the growth of your actual neighborhood. Is it urban renewal or is it a marketing silo? That's why right now we see a lot of different rentable spaces that are
Yeah.
being marketed as mixed income because we don't want those
Yes.
marketing silos. We don't want those marketing silos. Um, Revitalization versus displacement. Neighborhoods can't bounce back from poverty if the impoverished just bounced elsewhere. That's That's cool. So we want to move in the spaces where we see low income housing along the lines of mixed income housing or mixed use development, because low income
Mm-hmm.
housing uh, should not be solely and only a standalone method to battle or to thwart gentrification. It needs to be low income housing within mixed use development, within mixed income developments.
Yep.
And then, of course, those accompanying first time home buyer programs, things that can really assist in an equitable way people to stay in the communities that they love. Now, here's our attitude, right? We all got attitudes, not attitude problems, you guys, so don't get y'all in a huffy. The attitudes. Right? Um, let's figure out how to take that attitude of being uncertain about your growth and frustrated that your voice is not being heard. And let's move that into some good quality behavior. If you're unhappy
Mm-hmm.
with the way your neighborhood is growing, there are plenty of ways in which you can use your voice and your presence to activate some change. I think I
Chris,
might
I
have.
have,
Oh,
back on your older slide, attitude. We everyone, the folks that are unhappy, local restaurants or business or neighbor having to high rent prices, high taxes, or just the flavor of the neighborhood. But there are those that are excited about revitalization because you know when that liquor store owner moves out, have a major drugstore like Starbucks or Walgreens that comes in and provides services that were not in the neighborhood before prior to that people were
mhm,
liking, whether it's access to their own better drugs or pharmacy, access to good food or eatery, access to maybe a theater or something that enables them, or even a hospital, as random as it may sound. Um, those kind of revitalizations, yeah.
Hello, Uche. How mind blowing is it that development will bring us value like a hospital?
Yes. So this is
We
one of
have to get into that
is
conversation. I know you've had some really cool conversations recently about healthcare equity and how organizations, healthcare organizations, seek neighborhoods and communities to place their new, their health footprints, right? Whether they're those emergency clinics or even a
Hmm.
standalone hospital or even like private doctors, right? Family physicians. So I know you
Hmm.
got some information on how they figure those things out. And is it
Yes,
income based?
it is income based. A lot of it is.
Because healthcare is also a business. Look at us. Look at us learning. Can you mind if I move on, or you want to stay here for a minute?
No, no, no. You, yeah, feel free.
Thank you. All right, I want to shift it as we go into mindset. Money, money always changes my mindset surrounding opportunities and conversations. And so this one right here has a lot of money on it without having any money on it, right? What is the mindset we're trying to shift into? How do we utilize growth is going to happen, so how do we benefit, how do we profit, how do we know what that profit looks like if we don't ideate how much we're valued at, right? When I'm looking at some of these papers or some of this research or some of these newspapers, I see a lot about how much to spend. What's the spend going to be on some of these when the bond is being approved? The average spend is going to be $1.2 billion for the bond in 2017 that we approved in 2017. We're spending that money right now, 1.7 billion, $1.3 billion. In the upcoming bond, it's going to be $1.6 billion. Now, what does that say of the value, though, of those communities? Now, we already know what we can put into them, but the value that because that little investment is just a investment into the right now, paying for things that happened in the past. Sorry, guys. Um, but what does it say about value? So understanding that we are literally sitting on a gold mine. The land in urban communities across America is worth trillions of dollars. We're sitting on a gold mine. Now, are we being treated as if we're sitting on a gold mine?
Hmm. That's
We
the
know the
question.
answer to that. No. We're not being treated like we sitting on a gold mine because they keep sending these people letters saying that if you just walk out your house tomorrow, we'll give you $40,000. $40,000 ain't no money. That ain't no money, right? So what we
Or
need to understand. What's up?
I was I was gonna say, or if when you talk about displacement, they they perceive value of the home that folks are living in is lower than the selling price they're putting these homes at. So you saw from that the gentleman's home was worth $130,000. Someone that's on a
Mhm.
fixed income, they can't move to another neighborhood. There's no home that is $130,000 inside. I don't know if I saw $130,000 home, but pretty much decrepit, or you can't. It's unlivable. So you're
Mhm.
asking this individual, hey, leave this home, move to another neighborhood with the money of the value of the property you have right now, which is so little, or they're willing to pay, and then they have to move to another neighborhood with that cash. You can't really afford much.
You won't. You won't get far, or you'll get so far out that you won't be able to make it to work. Your kids won't be able to make it to school. You won't be able to make, the car, your gas. Gas is $17,000 a month nowadays. You cannot afford it. You're not leaving
Hmm.
with an equitable tool to use to create your life and your livelihood. So it gets down to how much
Exactly.
you're willing to invest where you are. So I use
Exactly.
this model to really shift my mindset. And as like Jermaine said, who is a real estate agent, Jermaine says there's not enough inventory to purchase. There's not enough inventory across price points to purchase. There's not enough inventory in general. Unless you have to get outside and start building your own house. Sorry to
Even
say,
that's expensive.
probably even that is extremely expensive now with inflation, the cost of materials, the supply chain disruptions. It's extremely hard right now. Its best bet is to hanker down and figure out what you can invest in this moment. And that shifted my mindset to come up with a couple of solutions for my everyday people. You guys, this is a free consultation from Echo Public Relations. Just want to let you know you're not going to have to pay for this one. Here's what you can do to profit from gentrification in your neighborhood. You can become a real estate agent. It's not the easiest job. But when I tell you every real estate agent I know is extremely smart, they have enough drive and amazing amounts of ambition. They are active in their communities. They understand generational wealth. They understand various tools that you can use to create wealth. Becoming a real estate agent, and this is actually on one of my 2022-2023 goals list. Becoming a real estate agent opens your mind to a lot of great and fantastic opportunities surrounding wealth management, business management, and even some networking. Okay. So within 2 to 6 months, you can be building a profitable business. You can have a team. You can be part of a national network of agents. You can create something in your area. And I will also tell you lastly about this one topic. There's not a lot of real estate agents in the east side, west side area that know enough about and they understand the culture and the flavors of those communities because they're from there. So, hole in the market, I do believe. Um, Jermaine said it's fun. She's a real estate agent we've known for a few years. She said it's fun, it's stressful, and they won't listen. You know, tricks of the trade. I hear you. I sympathize. Yes. If you're looking for some agents, if you're looking for an agent right now, hit up Jermaine Stunts. She's in the comments doing her job. All right. We love it. Promote yourselves, everybody. Get in those comments. Here's another way to start profiting from gentrification. Start a business. I'm thinking landscaping, construction, electrical or HVAC. Our good friends over at Launch SA, they can help you for free. So yes, that's not necessarily a shameless plug, but that's a very profitable plug for Launch SA. I urge you all to give Launch SA and the Women's Business Center over there some with Lift Fund, some love and some appreciation, and put some respect on their name because they could really help you out with starting a business, as well as some government contracting with developers, partnering with other businesses, and things of that sort. You can profit from the boom in our trendier communities by launching a business and getting to work. And then, of course, there's networking. You can start networking right now as legacy neighbors, networking with people that are building around you, seeing what they're putting into place. Are they building Airbnbs? Are they building entire new developments? What type of people are they marketing to? Ask questions. Learn about the architects. Learn about whether they'll be presenting their builds to any larger elected officials. Maybe they might be presenting and looking for responses over at the chambers, which is where our city council gathers, right? Maybe they're up for a zoning review and they need a little bit of a recommendation. Network with some of these people and get in where you fit in. It's easier to catch flies or bees or whatever you're trying to catch with the honey or with
And
Google that. Put that in the comments too because I
yeah,
forgot.
so no,
Oh, sorry.
I would like to add, in terms of profitability, we should always think about equitable development within our community as well. I know a lot of times profit is always put ahead, but if you are a developer or someone who is looking to reinvest back in your community, let's think about how we can make it equitable. I know, and this is Builder Square, and it's all about diverse developers. So we need to really highlight some of those black and brown developers who are within the community creating equitable designs so that they can ensure that the community housing rates don't skyrocket beyond what it is, because there are some properties that can be dropped in a neighborhood that we've seen on the east worth what you know millions of dollars. Says, hey, let's make sure that we can build equitably in this neighborhood so that the building costs don't go exponentially high, and you then have the mixed the inequitable neighborhoods or neighbors, which then
Yes.
cause our residents to be displaced.
Our marketing silos. And actually, I got some, see, Uche, you reading my mind because I already have some tips on here for equitable conversations as we, demand accountability, right? If you are seeking out to network in the development space, if you're a legacy neighbor, and I use the term legacy neighbors in the sense of you've lived here for a while, you foresee yourself living here for a longer amount of time, you foresee your family living here in the future, or maybe your family foresee you living here in the present. So I call those people our consumers, our favorite people, the good people, legacy neighbors. Even if you're a transplant like Uche and I, or if you are originally, your family is originally from here, we're all legacy neighbors. Um, so, demanding accountability is a strategy for getting involved in the gentrification conversation when you do not want to necessarily profit from it. When you, yeah, I'm sorry, the profits did come first. Thank you, Uche, for calling that out. But, the real reason that we're here is making sure that as gentrification happens, people win. The right people win. The good people, the neighbors, right? So you should go into getting involved, maybe a little bit, if you want to make sure that you can stay in the spaces, right? So here's a couple strategies. Here's a couple questions that I think and I found on a Instagram account called Gentrification Is. Uh, uh, these questions really stood out. Have you clearly identified? These are questions that you ask to developers, elected officials, architects. These are questions that you ask when you attend neighborhood meetings, zoning meetings, when you attend Outlook meetings. Most of which we've had these design charrettes with Moody Nolan. We've attended zoning and land use meetings with the city of San Antonio. We've participated in Outlook meetings with Public Art San Antonio. We've even hosted a number of meetings to discuss what communities want from public art to development. And these are some really key questions that neighbors can ask to ensure that developments are accountable as well as equitable. Have you clearly identified the area's most vulnerable communities and how to protect them? Demand the charts. Demand the notes when you're asking these questions. And make sure you align them with what you already know. Does the projected plans include any policies that alleviate poverty, bridge wealth gaps, or block exploitation? Very important. As we've seen on the east side of communities, we have line of sight rules, we have historical preservation rules, we have tons of weird streets that are protected as well. So we want to make sure that we block exploitation, which can be exploiting the area. My one of my pet peeves about and that is more so of an identifier of exploitation. Uche, we pass it all the time when we leave out of the Spurs games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you leave out of the Spurs games
I
and
think
those,
some context.
huh?
I think you provide some context as to
Like,
leaving the
yeah,
Spurs game.
the context is, yeah, exploitation is the overuse without profiting that community, right? So the lovely people that be our Spurs, um, their home is the east side of San Antonio. However, they're using the area unequitably because when thousands of people file out of there after games, they're ushered directly to the freeway and they're pushed right out to the burbs or to whatever outlying communities where they live. They rarely get those people, those thousands of people, rarely get a tour of the East Side. They rarely get to see what's up Commerce, what's on WWY. They rarely make it outside of being rushed into the freeway. They rarely even make it to a place, say, like Tony G's, which is literally about a 10-minute drive away. And could host a hell of an after party for a game. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's a moment of exploitation in that community that could have been a very profit driven development for area businesses. That's why one block away from a multi-million dollar stadium and five-time champion winning team, there are empty buildings that could be full of businesses. There's no strip of bars. There's no massive amount of luxury housing. Um, yeah, we got to go all the way to downtown before you get to the Fuddruckers. I don't know about y'all, but Fuddruckers after a game is like really a lit spot. Okay, and lastly, your last question, um, uh, when you attend a neighborhood meeting is, can these meetings be recorded and put online for our community unable to attend for their reference? Can these be recorded? We want to make sure that what you're saying in this meeting is shareable. We want you to be accountable. Also, it's some folks that can make it. They got to work. They had to get the kids. They got choir rehearsal. They couldn't make it out. We want to make sure they get this information as well. Right?
Mm.
Right. Hey, Cynthia. Good to see you. All right. So that's some things that, strategy. Accountability is a strategy, and our entire community needs to be ready for it. One second. I lost my mouth, you guys. There it is. All right. Is this? Hmm.
And that's it. I think
Okay,
that's the last one.
that's it. That's the end of my presentation. Look at us. We made it to the end of that little presentation. I'm so excited for the knowledge that we gained during these last couple of days of research and last couple of days of conversation. We still got one or two more things to talk to you about. I know we only got about 5 or 6 minutes. Just to reiterate, if you are a resource, if you're in the real estate industry, development industry, construction, if you have a house painting business, landscaping, if you are a banker and you have access to dollars, drop your link tree links in those comments, whether they're here, there, or up or down, wherever they are on your screen. Drop those links in the comments. We want to be able to share them. We're not going to call you and we're not going to add you to any list from us, but we want to definitely share them to people that might need them in our community so we can make sure that we have everything that we need to make sure that gentrification issue is not an issue, but an opportunity for our community, right? Growth happens. Speaking of growth, I left my newspaper downstairs, Uche. The Business Journal just released their top developments in their Building San Antonio issue. I urge you all to go ahead. It costs a couple dollars to get beyond the paywall, but if you send me a message, I will talk to you about those things. Those are really cool. And then lastly, we had some really interesting visitors in the neighborhood last week. Um, I'm a newest member. Should I reveal this on this? Yeah, I am a very new member of Urban Land Institute, ULI San Antonio. Step, bought a seat at the table. Okay, so here's the story. A couple of days ago, our developer Gerardo had sent an email out saying that they were going to do like a tour. And we're like thinking nothing of it. We're like, oh, that's nice. Tours always happen in our neighborhoods. So a tour. I look out the window on the day of the projected tour, and there were 50, maybe 40 to 50 people that did not necessarily look like legacy neighbors. You understand what I'm talking about? Then I got a little video of it, so you can find it on my Instagram. My Instagram's not locked. I got a little video. And as I seen this crowd, I saw that the crowd was kind of influential. It was one or two people that I did know. One or two people that shouted out, they waved a little bit. So go on my Instagram account. You can see it. It's in one of my reels. But I was inspired because they were getting tours. They were getting front seat knowledge about the community. They were walking around seeing open spaces, open buildings. They were getting access. And I want that access. So $400 later, I have purchased myself a seat at the table. And I will be a member of ULI for at least the next year. And I urge you all to join me. I find it to be a very informational group. I find it to be a very open and honest group. They have a lot of information about career growth in the development field, as well as a lot of access to mentors. That's the goal here. Cynthia knew what's up. So I joined that group, not necessarily to infiltrate the group, but to definitely get some good quality access to some information that I've been looking to gain. in our goals as we really introduce some things. Uche, 5 minutes. Oh, do you want to tell them about Innovation 2022 in the TRTF? Velocity, Texas.
Here.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I thought we had discussed it earlier, talking about Velocity, Texas. Eastside Development, you all. Eastside Development is thriving right now. We went
Yeah,
to one of the
Eastside
biggest
development is
luncheons.
thriving.
The luncheon
Definitely
was
the t-
huge.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, no, no. Yeah, you can speak. I'm just.
Okay, I don't know what TRTF is stands for. Uche, find it for me. Google it. But it's the Texas Research and Tech Facility, something like that. But it's at Velocity, Texas. It's on Cherry and Commerce. It
Yeah,
is a huge, no, Cherry and Houston.
it's a huge what they said 2.5 acres currently and growing of job medical tech
Oh,
companies with average
bioscience.
salaries of yeah bioscience that deal with more specialized jobs skill sets.
Yep.
Um, and it's on the east side of San Antonio. It's going to prove to be a revitalization effort with builds and the new high paying job opportunities, um, which will allow people to look at the east side as a biosciences hub.
Which, as the East Side sits right now, our industry is kind of wonky. Our what we're bringing to the table is kind of wonky outside of amazing space in our vicinity, our closeness to downtown, and our access to, of course, all of the freeway systems. So I am excited for Velocity Texas. I'm also excited for their many programs that they were able to announce. And so for our homework this season, this week, we're going to give you all a little bit of Google work to do. Go ahead and Google Velocity Texas. Go ahead and Google the San Antonio Business Journal, um, Building San Antonio edition, and then Google. Um, let's see, what else can we Google? Oh, uh, oh, it's gonna slip my brain, and I'm gonna remember it later on in the comments. But Google Velocity Texas, they just hosted a large luncheon last week, where they announced their annual plan and then their goals for the East Side. Sage was there, elected officials were there, donors were there, and the Ogbas were there, getting as much information as possible. They have programs for internships for youth in STEM programs, STEM curriculum. They have programs for business owners to amplify their profits, to help legacy entrepreneurs and legacy businesses in the area to amplify their profits by partnering with tech brands. They have programs that are inviting tech founders to come to San Antonio's East Side. So if you're in that real estate industry, you got some Airbnbs. I guess y'all should put a little catalog together and send it over there to the TRTF because they are bringing people in from across the globe. Okay, right here to the east side of San Antonio. You all, we are jumping up into that time period. We had told each other, Uche, that we was only going to talk for 35 minutes.
Well, I mean, it's all good.
I be trying to be mediocre. It don't work. All right. But I am so grateful for our viewers today. Thank you so much, Jermaine, Cynthia, anyone else who saw this. And as you watch this replay, go ahead and share it with your community. I am so grateful for my handsome co-hosts, Uchenaya Agba. And grateful again for Moody Nolan Architects, the largest Black owned architecture firm in the country, you all. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Appreciate y'all. You all have a fantastic night. Use the next 5 minutes to reflect or share this video with your network. We greatly appreciate the help. And we'll also appreciate a little interaction. So you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Echo PR. That's EHCU PR. And we'll see you all later. Thanks.